Hey everybody, today we're going to take another look at the 2024 presidential map, and we're going to see how each state voted compared to the nation at large. We'll get the difference between the margin in each state and the national popular vote, and this will show us how much more Democratic or more Republican each state voted. For this one, we're not going to use a spreadsheet, we're just going to head right into the map. We're going to fill out each state one at a time, or we're going to start alphabetically. The safe states are going to be 10 or more points. Likely are going to be 5 to 9.9. Lean are going to be under 5 points, and Till are going to be under 1. The first thing we've got to do is get our baseline national popular vote number. That's an easy one because Donald Trump won it by 1.5 points. So we're going to start with that 1.5. We're going to go to Alabama. The margin for Donald Trump in that state was 30.5. The difference between that margin and the national popular vote is 29% more Republican. So that's how we're going to do the rest of these states. And we'll also keep the normal electoral votes on this map. And once in a while, there is a small discrepancy with some of these margins in some of these states. But let's keep going. We've got Alaska. That state voted 11.6% more Republican. Arizona voted more Republican by 4.1. Arkansas, also redder by a huge 29.1. California, that's the first blue state. It supported Harris by 20.2%. If you compare that to the national 1.5% popular vote margin in the other direction, that means California voted bluer by 21.7. In Colorado, it was bluer by 12.5. Connecticut, 16. And similarly in Delaware at 16.2. Florida was back toward the GOP. It was redder by 11.6. Georgia, the key swing state, it voted more Republican relative to the nation by just 0.7%. Hawaii toward the Dems by 21.6. Idaho is back toward the Republicans by a huge 35. Illinois was not as blue in 24, but it still voted 12.4% bluer. Now we've got some red states. Indiana at 17.4. Iowa 11.7. Kansas 14.7. Kentucky about twice that at 29.1. And Louisiana 20.5. Maine at large voted 8.4% more Democratic. In the first district, that's much bluer compared to the rest of the country, and that number is 23.1. In the second district, that's much redder. It was more Republican by 8.6%. In Maryland, that state was bluer by 30%. Massachusetts a little less than that at 23.7. In Michigan, the key battleground state, they supported Trump by 1.4. That's the closest margin to the national popular vote, and it comes out to just 0.1% more Democrat. Minnesota was bluer by 5.7. Now we've got more red states. Mississippi, 21.4. Missouri, 16.9. Montana, 18.4. Nebraska at large at 19.1. In the first district, that was redder by 11.5. The second district, that covers Omaha, that's bluer, and it's going to be by mid-single digits at 6.1. The third district is probably the reddest place in the country, and that voted more Republican relative to the rest of the country at a staggering 52.1. Then we've got Nevada, that's toward the GOP, but it's much smaller, it's by 1.6. Then we've got more blue states. We've got New Hampshire at 4.4. New Jersey was bluer by 7.4, and New Mexico was very similar at 7.5. And New York was relatively bluer at an even 14. Now more red states. We've got North Carolina at 1.7. North Dakota, 35. Ohio dips down to single digits at 9.5. Oklahoma way up there at 32.8. Oregon is back toward the Dems at 15.8. Pennsylvania was very close to the national popular vote, but it comes out to being more Republican at 0.2%. Rhode Island was bluer by 15.2. Then more red states. South Carolina, 16.3. South Dakota, 27.7. Tennessee, 28.2. Texas, 12.2. Utah, 20.1. Vermont, outside of D.C., was the biggest blue state on here. That was 33% more Democratic than the national popular vote. Virginia, a lot less blue at 6.7. Washington, 13 points bluer than that at 19.7. West Virginia, a big red state, but just not quite the biggest. It came in at 40.4. Wisconsin, the key purple Rust Belt state, compared to that 1.5% for Trump, it voted bluer by 0.6. Then Wyoming, outside of Nebraska's third. This was the reddest place in the country. It voted a monumental 44.3% redder then the entire country, and then we've got Washington, D.C. That's going to be the most extremely partisan electoral votes, and it voted bluer by a monumental 85.3%. So that's it. Those are all of the states. And now you can see relative to Donald Trump's 1.5-point national popular vote win, you can see which states were more Democratic or more Republican. The two most notable things to point out are going to be Wisconsin and Michigan. Those are the two swing states that voted for Trump, but the margin was by less than 1.5 points. So that's why those states are shaded in blue, and they're considered tilt margins by under 1%. Two other battleground states also fall into that category, but they're still in red. That's Pennsylvania and Georgia. The shading on the rest of the states is going to be pretty similar to what they got in the actual election. But if you were wondering how they voted relative to that national popular vote, this is going to be it, so let me know in the comments. What do you think about any of the numbers in any of these states? Were you surprised to see Wisconsin and Michigan flip blue? And is there anything else you took note of? Let me know what you think down below on your way out. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Join if you'd like to support the channel. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.